like you need to hold anything back. So if you have a question about anything, go ahead and ask. Okay, Harrison, what's up?
What direction does the community want to go for as far as Milsim goes with the changes to the, changes to the emblems and the different divisions?
Yeah, so that was done for a couple of reasons. One, so with the with removal of SOF and sort of merging and the renaming conventions of A company, B company, and the establishment of reserve platoon. So a lot of things changed task organization and structure wise. So with former SLF and former SRF and former SOF came some bad habits, basically.
Microphone activated.
All around
Microphone
on
muted.
all aspects. So instead of just merging units together or doing whatever, the best way to get rid of some bad habits is to change the structure and change the leadership structure. And so the new symbols are really nothing more than a middle thing, right? So it just signifies the change that we're doing and tries to get people out of the old bad habit of calling themselves something or seeing an icon and getting back into that the old way of doing things, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Now, as far as what direction we're going, so all the changes that were implemented were done with the community as a whole in mind, right? So what we want to do is bring the community closer
User
together,
left your channel.
Get rid of some of the perceived or real divides that were there before.
User in your channel is recording.
And get us close to all being on the same sheet of quals and certifications, access to qualifications and certifications. Basically what we want to do is allow everybody to do what they want within Milsim, within reason, mind you. So it's all around the individual player experience. We want you to be able to do what you want that makes you happy playing Milsim. Do you want me to expand on anything, Harrison, or is that good?
Nope, that settles it for me.
Okay, Smith, go ahead. Smith.
Yeah, hold on. I forgot it. Pushed. What's to stop the whole it getting back to the way it was again?
Me, because I'll fire people immediately. So what we've done is we've merged some leadership together, basically, to make people sort of work together. Because we didn't have that many different opinions. It was I think mostly perspective and perception. So with some of the merges is obviously a combination of leadership to get all that expertise together to work on the same page. And then secondly is, so before we're doing CO reviews for the COs of the units. You guys may not have known that. Some of you do or should, because we had interviewed a few folks, but we're going to have an expanded CO review, which basically makes sure that they're doing their job right, and not just from the tactical and technical proficiency level, but from the as everything I'm doing the best for the community level. So if you're instilling hostility between Alpha Company and Bravo Company, or your shitty CO that makes all the the new reserve platoon guys fucking clean up backpacks at the fob and then go out and die every day. You're probably not doing the best thing for the community and community-wide. So we're going to have a set of expectations for leadership, and it's going to be reviewed periodically with a formalized review process to make sure that they're doing their job. And if they're not, they're going to be fired and replaced with somebody who's more competent and capable. Does that make sense and answer your question, Smith?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thanks.
But let me be 100% honest with all of you. That the first and foremost responsibility of making sure that things don't go back to the way that they were or perceived were is on each individual. So the best way to do that is to not assume things. I've heard a lot of assuming over the last 4 or 5 days. people who don't necessarily have the facts, factual information, or a misconception saying things when they're actually wrong. So what I ask you to do is to make sure when you're speaking, you're speaking with factual based information, and you're not helping to create an environment of hostility or negativity. I fucking, I'm not going to stand for that stuff anymore. The game's a telephone and rumor mill and all that stuff's over. I'm just going to crush it. So come on, keep asking questions, guys. There's been a lot of changes, and I'm sure there's questions. So ask any specific questions you have. Come on. I'm going to be angry if I only get 2 questions. All right, Mason, you're up.
The role of the ranks that have been implemented, is it just purely symbolic for training, or are they actually going to play a yes or no sir sort of system?
There will be 0 yes or no sir shit. I fucking can't stand it. Because realism in a video game, we're not going to be playing yes or no sir stuff. So the ranks are not symbolic at all. The ranks are means that you have achieved a certain certification and qualification level, which is going to be a community-wide certification and qualification thing. And that means you're in a position of leadership and responsibility. So instead of, you being around the community for 4 years and everybody likes you and you're a good guy, so you're going to be the squad leader, it's actually going to be, okay, do you have the certifications and qualifications to be a squad leader? Yes, you do. Okay, then we can look at your appointment to that position. So it's the rank structure is not for yes or no sirs, or for a specialist to tell a PV2 or private or PFC what to do. It's to recognize people who've put in a lot of work in the community and have achieved certifications and qualifications. Does that clarify for you?
Yeah, all good, man.
Okay, Smith.
Can I
again.
add to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Whiskey.
As quickly as you may attain the ranks, you can also just as quickly lose it. If we hear wind, or if your command hears wind of people abusing ranks, then you forfeit your right to it regardless of what qualifications you have. By the same token, just because you have the qualifications to attain a certain rank does not mean that you automatically deserve or get that rank. So a lot of these positions are based off of need or demand. So if there are already all the slots for platoon leaders filled, but you have the qualifications to be a platoon leader, then guess what? You're not going to be one
User in
because
your
there is
channel is
no position
recording.
for you.
So your squad leader and above positions are
User in your
are
channel is
billeted,
recording.
basically. Okay, Smith, ask your second question now.
All right. I have a question in regards to. Is there going to be more instructors for, say, people who can't be on the weekends?
You're breaking up, Smith. Speak up like a big boy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, is my question has to do with the way to get said quals. Is there going to be more instructors able to teach said classes during the week, or is it just going to be a weekend only kind of thing? Because I know that there are people that can't work at this on the weekends, like myself, and there are a couple others.
So the idea, let me stop you there. The idea of community-based certifications is obviously so we can have more instructors and have more classes, and everybody has same access to the training. Now some of that's going to be time zone dependent on what the instructors of that class are. So use like CQB, for example. We had former SOF guys with CQB course. We had former SOF guys with CQB course, and they were all doing it independently. So our idea is to bring those courses together for one community course and one community standard, which then increases the amount of instructors for that the community can go to. So that's, yes, we're going to try to do what we can for all time zones, but we're realistically sort of, we got to go by what time zones those instructors live in. And the people who are going to be instructing the courses are actually knowledgeable on the subject. So we're not just going to bring somebody up to teach a course based off their time zone or something like that. But I think you get my point, Smith. So, okay, Harrison, second question.
Based off what your response was to Mason's question earlier about how ranks will have basically no symbolism behind them, I was still wondering, would there be any sort of implied or enforced chain of command that follows them anyway? So you have your officers and you have your squad leaders and team leaders. Will those be any sort of more higher up in the chain of command than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so it's not. I think you misunderstood kind of what I said. So there's obviously some sort of symbolism behind it. So let's use Williams, for example, who's in this channel right now. Williams is a staff sergeant, which means he is a squad leader within B Company. So his two fire team leaders answer to him, right? And then the members of that fire team answer to their fire team leader. What we're talking about is mostly all in-game shit and organizational stuff. So easily is a team leader because he's qualified to be a team leader. Williams is his squad leader because he's qualified to be a squad leader. But it's not going to be yes sergeant, no staff sergeant stuff. So it's some basic. I mean, the rank system was basically overhauled and implemented to make sure that the most qualified people are able to take those positions of leadership, and not necessarily based off of a good old boys club, friendship, or time. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ducks, you're up.
Okay. So from the perspective of the individual, like at the lowest end of it, right? Let's say I have qualifications to be a pilot or to be armor crewman or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And with before, if you're in a group, then you're kind of like locked to those roles, right?
Mhm.
So I just want to know, with it kind of being more open, is it going to be where you can like switch around more, or if you're a pilot, are you locked to being a pilot or whatever?
So yes and no. So if you're a pilot, you're going to be a pilot. I mean, we've gone through that 100 million times. Pilots are always going to be pilots. But let's use the reserve platoon, for example, right? So members of the reserve platoon who haven't graduated BCT and the replacement that's coming for AIT can only slot in as riflemen to begin with. That's because they need to get the experience of being a rifleman and learning how to be a member of a fire team before they can slot into something else. Then let's say, okay, if you want to slot in as an MG, as machine gunner,
User
you
in
need
your
to
channel
have
is
the
recording.
MG certification and qualification. It's not necessarily a billeted position, right? So you can play as a rifleman, you can play as a grenadier, you can play as a fucking MG gunner, whatever. There are going to be some specific positions that require the qualifications and certifications. But your basic rifleman is not one. But pretty much everything else is going to be: do you have the certification and qualification to be a machine gunner? Have you been through the training? Yes, then you can slide into that position. And things like armor and stuff will all be sort of mission dependent, based off of what the mission is. So if you might play as an armor platoon on one mission, and then as an infantry platoon on
User
another. If that makes
disconnected
sense.
from your channel.
Did I answer your question, Dux?
Yeah, so pretty much the same, right? Just more open.
Yeah, well, more open and make sure you're certified and experienced for that position.
Cool.
Okay, Atlas.
Hi, you touched on the ranks. Obviously, with the higher ups, obviously having some sort of leeway on dictation the lower ones can do. But with, say, like a PV2 and a PFC, nothing really stops these two ranks at the moment from going at each other, potentially. So what are you going to do to fix that?
What do you mean nothing stops them from going at each other?
Because I read on the forums you have like a way, or you've like kind of quoted something saying like if you are caught demeaning the rank below you or trying to do something in that regard, there'll be a consequence. How are you going to pull that through from also the lower ranks? Would it still apply?
Yeah, so like just because you're a PFC, Atlas, it doesn't give you the right to tell PB2 Ducks what to do in the game, right? And so we're not going to have that shit happening. if you're a member of a fire team, you're all on equal standing except for that fire team leader. Because just like you would in game right now, when the fire team leader gives you a command, you're going to execute it because he's the fire team leader. Doesn't matter if you had a rank or not. It's the same basic principle now, except that fire team leader is recognized because he has the certifications, qualifications, and the trust of his company leadership to become a fire team leader. So the personality conflicts in fucking game are going to always happen, but it's not going to be based off ranks, and ranks aren't going to be abused to allow personality conflicts to continue.
When you do witness a personality conflict, how would you like people to go around about that in
User
game?
in your
Yeah,
channel
the
is
first thing to
recording.
do is to use your company leadership. You, who's probably going to be a member of Alpha Company, we'll talk to Fox and Hauser. If you feel like they're not adequately addressing your concerns, and then you talk to the adjuvants. Their job is to take concerns of community members and raise them up. And if for some reason they don't adequately address your concerns, then you come to the command team of me and Lee and the Joint Chiefs, and we'll fix the issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, Bailey, go ahead.
Someone wants to ask anonymously, outside of planned ops, how strictly enforced will rank be in leading missions? If I'm leading a mission in progress and someone comes on of a higher rank and wants to lead, do I have to give way?
Yes and no. So let's say that 4 guys get on from Alpha Company, none of which are a team leader, right? What's going to happen is those 4 guys are going to decide on who the leader's going to be for that mission. If they go out, they're going to go out. Let's say they pick a Polar to be the team leader. Well, Polar's going to serve as that team leader. Now, if the squad leader gets on, I don't necessarily expect there to be an immediate turnover responsibility of that mission because he, Polar planned that mission out. But Polar has a job to talk to his squad leader or team leader who comes on. Basically, give him a back brief on what's going on. And then if, the squad leader wants to take responsibility for that mission, then yes, he can. Because he's earned that right through his certifications and qualifications and nomination to his position as a squad leader. Does that make sense to the anonymous question poser?
I hope so. I'm sure we'll write another quick follow-up if there isn't.
All right. Patriot, you're up.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk lately between the training gaps between SRF and SLF, or now Company A and Company B. Has there been any thought to create, at least, I'm just going to put it in military speak, a EDVR or billets to encourage people who have gone to Company B to come back to a leadership position to help the new guys, especially whether it's senior enlisted or within Company A, so we don't have such a gap. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Williams,
User
shut
in
your
your
mouth.
channel
Let
is
me
recording.
fucking talk. It does make sense, and the idea of all this is to be able to grow leadership outside of just Bravo Company. You're going to have some very strong leaders at Alpha Company coming up right now. You've got Sage and Klein, former SOF and SLF guys. So that's exactly it. So B Company right now is actually very small. So I wouldn't want anybody from B Company to move.
User in your channel is recording.
1/10 of the size of Alpha Company. I think you have a lot of experienced dudes who are going to be part of Alpha Company now that are going to be good leaders and be able to bridge the gap between the experience and quals, like you're kind of talking about. But again, the idea for the community-wide certifications and quals is to make sure everybody has equal access to training and equal access to certifications. So we take all the great work that SLF did with, making quals and certifications, because they did a lot of great work, and we're making that a community-wide sort of standard. Because what they did was fucking good. And same with some of the courses that the former SOF guys did. Is they had a lot of great courses, not necessarily everybody had access to. So now I think with the much larger access to community-wide training, I think it's going to be easier for us to develop great leaders and experienced folks in both companies.
Roger that.
Okay, Silent, you're up.
I think I read somewhere that Alpha and Bravo Company are going to have standardized equipment. Is that accurate?
Yes, the equipment divide between all the elements is going to be minimal at this point. I mean, pretty much everybody's going to have the same equipment. Alpha Company, Bravo Company, Reserve platoon guys who are sliding in under Alpha Company. A lot of the equipment's going to look the same. Now there's going to be position-specific equipment that not everybody has access to. So if you were, if you're a Sotic sniper, you have a sniper rifle, and you, as a fucking rifleman,
User in your channel is recording.
If you're a member of the wrecking detachment, you're going to have, thermal optics because you need that shit to do your job. So everybody, the gear divide's going to be a lot smaller than it was because let's be fair, the majority of jealousy and armor comes from fucking this guy's got cooler gear than me or this guy's got a cooler uniform than me. I don't think anybody in here can really deny that. So we're going to basically put that divide a lot smaller by making the equipment very comparable all around and then having everybody play as one faction. So everybody looks the same, shoots the same, basically carries the same shit. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I just think that was something that pushed the Alpha Company guys to want to get into Bravo. So I just want to know what the thought process behind that was.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Gear envy is a big fucking thing in armor, man. It's it may be stupid, but it's a reality. Okay, Ivan, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask about. It says that training will be standardized across the board. So that means the new guys will have training weekly or the weekends or through the whole week. And will there be a a required number of online newbies so the training will be held?
So training hasn't been completely fleshed out yet, and what our plan is for implementation of it and schedule.
User left your
that'll
channel.
likely happen by the end of the weekend. You'll have a better idea of what our training schedule is going to look like, and how many training opportunities you're going to have. So there's going to be, Ryan, you just stop because you can't speak for CLS because I haven't fucking told you what's going to happen with it. That's kind of the point, guys. Training's going to be done, and the SOPs and standards are going to be set from the top, in concert with the guys who are teaching the courses. So we've got a lot of work to do in the next couple of days to implement the training SOPs. But what you are going to start seeing is training being used on the calendar. Previously, training was fucking all over the place. Like, I had to look in 9 fucking different forums to figure out what training was going on for the day. It was kind of a bitch. So now there's going to be one central place. Everybody can see where training's going on, and we'll be able to sign up to it. So again, the big thing here is equal access to all training for everybody. As far as the new guys, Ivan, you have to complete BCT and complete the AIT replacement, obviously before you can go into Alpha or B Company. Did I answer your question for you?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Silent, go ahead.
Are we going to be able to keep, or is everyone going to be able to keep their certs that prior to this, or everyone got to recertify?
No, everybody will keep their certifications. All players that are currently playing Milsim right now will be pretty much grandfathered in, for the most part. So some certifications you'll see are going to change. So we'll be merging things like JTAC and FAC together. So you may not have a FAC tag and you may have a JTAC tag or something like that now. But yeah, all previous certifications and things are going to stand because that would be retarded if we just did away with all the work that people have done over the last couple of months, and everybody would hate me, and people hate me enough, I think, already. So I don't want to do that.
The biggest thing to remember
Thanks.
with training and certifications is while the standardization means different things for different people, the end state is to have a series of classes that are being taught the same by different instructors. So for every single training course we have, we want to have a syllabus, training material, and either FTX or mission specific things available to that course so that it's taught the same every single time and every single person that goes through gets the same level of training. In the past, we had training gaps, especially most recently with JTAC, where one person would teach it really in depth, and the next person that would teach it would kind of just skim the surface and only go skin deep. So we want to make sure that it's equal across the board.
All right, guys. Do we have any more questions on Milsim changes? I know if you have something that's bugging you in the back of your head that you want to know, please ask. If you want to ask me something that you're too scared to ask publicly, fucking PM Bailey or something, and he can ask me. But I want to make sure you guys all have this opportunity to get clarification on anything that you think needs clarification or that you're fuzzy on. And I mean, any topic, there's literally nothing off limits right now. So if you want to talk about anything, man, please X up and chat, and we'll get it. Okay, Atlas, go ahead.
Do you have, or would it be possible to set up other methods except from just the forums to notify people on stuff changing? Like with a Steam group, you can very easily set up an event, so everyone will be sent that event via your inbox on Steam, or from Discord or some
User
sort of other
left your
chat
channel.
program. Is there a way of implementing that type of system so it's not just on the forums?
Yes. So we're gonna have the events on the forum. So we're also looking at being able to mirror our training with like a Google Calendar, so everybody can sync to that Google Calendar. We are going to start utilizing the Steam group event broadcast
User
a
in
bit
your
more.
channel is recording.
We haven't really been using them for shit lately. You probably saw the kickoff event happen on Steam. So the Steam group is a powerful thing. We're also looking at other things
User
like
in your channel is recording.
community-wide Slack and some other stuff. But for the time being, your main place and repository is going to continue to be the calendar on the forums, and then the Steam group calendar, which will be synced with the forum calendar.
Okay.
Okay, Bailey, go ahead.
Anonymous wishes to ask, how are promotions going to be handled within groups?
Okay, so promotions to specialists are automatic based off of your certification and qualifications and your ability to achieve them. So it's all certification qualification based stuff. So then let's say, okay, I'm a specialist. I have the qualifications to become a E5 team leader. Then it's going to be based off of if that position is open or not. So if there's an open team sergeant position, team leader position within Alpha Company, I can apply for that position. And then the company leadership, in concert with the platoon leadership and squad leaders, have the ability to appoint that team leader, the next team leader who's the most qualified guy. And they'll do that through a series of interviews and boards and other things. If any time you feel that there is some sort of unfair bias, use, again, your chain of command to address that. If you don't feel confident going directly to your chain of command because you feel like there is an unfair bias or something, then come right to me. I think most people can say I'm a pretty fair and biased dude, considering I just deleted my entire fucking last 4 years of work in group. So I'm pretty unbiased for the most part. That answer that question? I hope so. Okay, Bailey, second X anonymous question.
Yeah, there was a follow-up to it. So if I'm a specialist and want to go to a team leader, what other qualifications? Are the qualifications there that we need to rank up, or are they already in place?
If you look at my latest Milsim changes post, outlines what certifications and qualifications are needed for each rank. Again, It's not a guarantee that you're going to become a team leader, because we're going to appoint the most experienced, qualified team leaders who have the personality, characteristics, and traits to lead a team. I can probably say in the past there's been people who were team leaders who shouldn't be team leaders, and there are people who are squad leaders that shouldn't be squad leaders. The entire point of the system is to sort of get away from that and to make sure that the most qualified, competent team leaders are going to be the guys that are in place. Okay, Mason, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, is B Company going to slide a bit further towards the Special Forces side of things? Because Fox advertised A Company as the new SLF sort of theory. So there's a potential conflict of sort of interest and conflict on who does what in that way.
No. So I hear the term direct action thrown around a lot in this community, or DA, and I don't think people have a true understanding of what DA and direct action mean in real life. There is no real DA force that's on the server, period, and there probably won't ever be. So the Bravo Company mission is not going to be a soft mission. There is no longer any soft on this server. Bravo Company mission is a primary assault mission. So what people confused with DA before, DA is
User
a
in your
very
channel is recording.
specialized mission set with very defined characteristics of political risk, political sensitivity, and risk to force. And that doesn't exist here anymore. So B Company will have the primary assault mission. When I say assault, I'm talking about
User in your channel is recording.
assaulting a compound. But they're going to be working in concert with B Company, or with Alpha Company. So Alpha Company, will also be along there. Now, Alpha Company might be doing the inner cordon for B Company on their assault mission, or we have a mission to take Dilshad. Alpha Company is assaulting the west side, and B Company's assaulting the east side of the city. Doing a screening push to come in. So you're going to see the difference between mission sets is going to become a little bit smaller, but let's all be realistic. With where the companies are with their training, certifications, qualifications, and experience right now. Does that answer your question?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, Ghost, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Bailey answered mine. Or not Bailey, but you answered my question when you answered Bailey's stuff.
Oh, okay. Thomas?
I was just wondering how grandfathering would be taking place.
So let's use the staff sergeant position as a benchmark right now. So there may be a few guys who were appointed to staff sergeant who haven't been able to attend SULC at this point because of the limited amount of classes or something like that. So they don't necessarily have to have SULC to be in that position, but they are expected to take that class within the first 90 days of their appointment as a squad leader. And again, all certifications that people already have stand. Now it may be renamed to something else, or may become a different certification than what you currently have in your TeamSpeak group. But our primary goal is to make sure that nobody loses the work that they've worked for over the last couple of months. Fox, you got a clarification or something you wanted to make?
It was already covered. We can move on.
Okay, Atlas, go ahead.
Something that I want to ask, and something that I've been asked by someone else. With the rank of PFC, the AIT was completed by a few members. They have some of the ranks for SPC, but they haven't been grandfathered into it yet. Is that because the fact that you're reworking the AIT, or how's that going about?
No, it's because Alpha Company's ranking system has not been implemented yet.
Okay.
The only people that are assigned to Alpha Company at this moment are guys who are in positions of leadership. So the line member ranks of Alpha Company will be filling out here over the next couple of days, and then you'll see once you're assigned to Alpha Company that your rank will be brought back up to what it should be. So for guys who are not a member of a company right now, who are sort of a member of the reserve platoon or whatever, Don't get stuck on what your rank is, because it's probably not going to be your rank over the next couple of days. It's just the implementation of ranks within the Alpha Company and the reserves takes a lot longer because of the amount of fucking personnel that are in A Company and the reserve platoons. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, Ivan, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Another question regarding the new members. So you said that everyone needs to go through BCT now. But if, let's say, there's no training placed on any time or date, can the new players help during the missions if they have any experience with Arma 3 or past Arma games?
So the moment that you enlist on the forums, you can come in and play Milsim. You're just going to be, you're going to be in a position of only being able to slot in as a rifleman, and that's it. Because we want that to happen so people get the experience for 30 days, just like we've always had a 30-day experience timeline or 30-day mandatory service timeline to figure out how we run operations here. Because your experience in ARMA doesn't necessarily mean that you know how Spearhead runs or how our community works or what our certifications are, or what our TDPs are, or how we execute
User
fire
in
team
your
maneuvers.
channel is recording.
So nothing's going to stop you from playing ARMA from the moment that you enlist. But if you want to continue to advance, if you want to be, if you want to go to Bravo Company or become a team leader in Alpha Company, you have to go through BCT and the AIT replacement in order to advance within the community. If you want to be a casual player that logs in every 30 days and plays, nothing's going to ever make you go to BCT. You can still slot in as a rifleman and play. So it's not like you have to go through BCT, do some push-ups, and do a fucking PT test before you can slot in as a rifleman and play on the server. Answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, all right. Silent Sarge, go ahead.
I was wondering if anyone could speak to the specific changes coming to RIP and sort of their new job, I guess, and how they will participate with the rest of Bravo Company.
Yeah, so the RIP is undergoing some changes right now with the sort of the training and the process. So I'm not going to talk about that until it's done, but I will outline the changes that have occurred basically within the Recce detachment right now. So the selection for Recce detachment is going to be an open application process, where previously, in order to get into what was formerly SOF, you had to be nominated by a guy within the team, and then you kind of ran through a secret selection. Now that was done for some good reasons in reality, because we didn't want folks to know that we're kind of watching them, because when somebody knows that they're watching you, well, they may do things differently. We want to see how a person naturally was when they were playing the game. But that led to some perceptions, misconceptions, and the fact that it was a little secluded, I guess. So at this point, everybody from who's qualified to be an A company, B company, again, you have to go through BCT and AIT before you can be apply for RIP for selection to get on the Recce team. But anybody can apply. So there's no more perception that it was a good old boys club or something. It really never was, but perception is a lot of things with people. So their mission is a primary reconnaissance mission. Whereas before, it was a primary assault CQB mission. They're still going to have that experience, and they're still going to be part of Bravo Company. So they're going to still, be utilized as an assault force along with the rest of B Company.
User in your channel is recording.
But B Company has command and control of the Recce detachment. So what that means is the company command team of Schmidt, Dude, and Nichols have insight and sit on the selection process and know what's going on.
User in your channel is recording.
And it can also task, B Company with the B Company Recce Det with conducting a task. So just like in real life, anybody that in here that has an Army tag knows that a alerts detachment is not a company level asset. It's generally almost a core level asset. So myself and Lee at the 05 command level still have the ability to reach down and task them with a specific community-wide mission of, reconnoitering an objective that's going to happen in 3 or 4 days or whatever. But B Company will hold the tactical control of Reki Det as well as with the care and feeding and all that other good stuff. I think I answered your question. You got any more specifics?
User
on that,
disconnected
Silent?
from
You
your
want to know anything
channel.
else?
Oh, that was great. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Question and answer time. Just a couple more questions, and I'll feel good. I just want to make sure we're addressing anybody's issues or questions from the front. Like, I don't want there to be any rumors or misconceptions.
User left your channel.
You thinking or assuming that something is happening when it's not, because I've seen it happen quite a few times over the past couple of days.
User in your channel is recording.
I have another one, but it's not to do with Alive at all.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually spoke to you yesterday regarding the new live server. Is there going to be a application process to become not necessarily a staff member, but just like a tech member to help out with the development in any way or form?
So
That's gonna answer that.
There is no application process right now. If you want to help, hit up the guys that are working on it right now. They're more than willing to take on your help. So just so everybody knows, just because you're helping with development of life doesn't mean you're going to be granted some fucking super powerful position once the server comes out or something. But Ford can give any more specifics that he wants. Go ahead, Ford.
Basically, right now we're not looking at anyone or anything yet for the application process. Be it there probably won't be one, but right now we're not looking for anything unless you have any development skills. That is.
Yeah, I have modeling skills if they're needed.
Yeah, the more developers, scripters, modders, stuff like that, that they have access to, the better. So just hit up Ford after this, and he can get you added into the Hangout and helping with tasks. But you got to be willing to do some work. So.
Can I say something, Dots, real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. As Dots was saying, yeah, we're looking for, just because we're still developing, last year doesn't mean we're not always looking for developers. So if you know somebody who knows how to script, C++, anything,
User
let
left
me
your
know or let
channel.
Ford know. But if you know anybody, just let them know. If you have a certain set of skills, PM me over forums, bring it on, fucking TeamSpeak, whatever, just reach out, because we're still looking for developers, and there's just still a lot of projects we need help with.
User
So
in your
feel free to
channel
just
is
fucking
recording.
go around and start looking for people. That's pretty much all I had.
Todd, Sage, you guys looking at doing another town hall maybe on a weekend, are you? Or
Yeah, no, we need to do another town hall because of Sage's shitty scheduling ability.
Yep.
So quickly address a couple other things, and then we'll do some more question and answer shit at the end. Again, I just want to hit on the fact that, what we're trying to do now, everything that we're trying to do with the Milsim changes is to get the community closer together, and to make sure that, there is no perceived or real divides anymore. There were a lot of significant changes for some people during this, and some people didn't have a lot of change at all, except for the rebranding of a new icon and name and some leadership structure.
User disconnected from
I
your
know
channel.
it's a weird time for some folks, but just recognize that a lot of changes happened, and just bear with it for a couple of days. Quickly, let me cover that. For this current mission, you can continue to slot into your old slots. We're trying to hopefully have the next mission ready to go with the changes that have happened over the next couple of days. There may be one transition mission in between those two, I'm hoping we get it done to where we don't have to do that, because the sooner that we get into our current or back configuration, the better. Cover Exile real quick. So we shut down the Exile server. Actually, I don't know if we technically shut it down. Did we shut that shit down, Whiskey? I'll log in the box
yeah,
and check. But
it
okay,
should be, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't logged in to check, but we're shutting down Exile. Exile served as a decent recruitment tool for Milsim. We got a couple players from it. But Exile could really no longer support itself. So, you know, we had Exile up for a while where, you know, donations that were coming in from Exile players helped support Exile. You know, we hadn't got a donation from an Exile player in almost 2 months. And the reality of it is we got bills to pay. And if they're not helping pay the bills, then, you know, so be it. We'll move on. A lot of that's because of, you know, whatever reason, whatever the population died, Exile shit. I don't know. I've heard of, you know, a million different things, but so we're going to keep that box for the time being, and we're gonna, you know, put that off to the side for the life development. We have a goal set for life development. You know, we want to be in pre-alpha by the end of next month. For those that don't know, there's a custom map. Everything for this life mod is custom. Custom map, custom fucking everything. So, you know, we're still probably 6 months away from doing a super duper public launch or something like that. But the pre-alpha version, which will be tested only internally to Spearhead, should be up by the end of next month. So we'll never be a pay to win or pay to play community. You guys all know that, and I think you know my
User
ethics
left
on
your
that.
channel.
You know, the other live servers out there, you got to pay $30 to fucking play, which sometimes makes the community toxic because then you can't ban anybody for fucking doing shitty stuff. So because we're free, we can ban who the fuck we want to. I think we'll have a community poll on how many guys we ban on the first day of public release. The closest person to that will win a prize or something. Actually, I'm gonna do a real contest for that, just so we know. That'll be fucking fun. So I think that's about it for Exile Life. If you got the cash, boys, the Whiskey just put a link to donate to the server coffers on there. Please do donate. I'm super happy because this is the first month since the existence of Spearhead that I haven't had to pay money out of my pocket for the cost of our servers. So it's been a good month, and thanks to those guys who donated to help out server costs. And just so everybody knows, I've repeated this a million times, but we can't touch the money that goes in the server coffers. It's only for the server coffers. We can't withdraw it or do anything with it, so there's no perception of possible fucking stealing of money and other things, because that has happened in the past, boys. I think we all, for those guys who've been around, know that. We want to make sure that shit never happens. So I think that's all I got. Unless anybody has any other questions, I think we're about wrapped up, unless Sage has something else.
That covered everything.
Go ahead, Silent.
Yeah, just real quick. Will any of the future changes be kind of put to like a community vote?
So yes and no. Generally, we're not going to poll the entire community on something. We've only done that once, and that's because it was such a fucking significant change that we had to really do the math to see how many fucking players we were going to lose. This wasn't as big of a change, so just so you guys know, it's not like I made this decision in a vacuum. I talked with the Joint Chiefs, the adjutants, every commanding officer in EXO from the groups that were previously there. And we made that decision together as a group, and not like I was just like, okay, boys, I woke up on the left side of the bed today, and this is what we're going to do. Everything that we've done the entire system that we have in place is to make sure that we're always doing the best thing for the community with the most community input that we can have. We'll never do a real
User in your
direct
channel is
democracy
recording.
because it just doesn't work ever. Like you can't have 3,000 people vote on something. There's always going to be some people that are unhappy with a change, and that's fine. But after talking with all the leadership, polling a lot of the line members, we knew that what we were doing was the right move. And again, that's why the adjutants are there. It's why you guys are there to elect them. The adjutants are only as good as the people that you guys put into power. We as the leadership and the Joint Chiefs don't have any way of doing that. We're not going to interject in that process. And, they have just as big as a vote at the table as anybody else that is a Joint Chief does. That answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
So, if there's no other questions or nobody wants to call me dickhead, or comments, gripes, complaints, bitches, I think we'll wrap it up. If you still have any questions that you don't feel like publicly addressing, you can hit me up afterwards. And here comes fucking Milla with the ringer. Go, Milla.
Fucking dickhead.
Yeah, thanks. That was it? That was your contribution, Milla? Yeah, it was. So, just so you guys know, Milla will be the only lifelong PB2 on the server.
No, I upgraded. I'm a PFC now.
Oh, we'll correct that. Don't worry.
Fix it
forever.
No, go fuck yourself.
We'll fix that shit.
Start selling ass.
All right, Bailey, go ahead.
I got one, bro.
After Bailey for a long, you didn't X up, fuckface.
Driving.
Any timeline on the Mark 15 boats, Dodds?
Fucking, I wonder where that question
God
came from.
damn it.
When can we get the little birds back?
Lim,
Because I
you
missed
son
those
of
things.
a bitch.
Fuck happened to Anonymous?
Someone
Just
told.
answer yourself, man.
Yeah. If I hear the word Mark 15, I know where that question is coming from. We'll make sure, Lim, just for you, that we have Mark 15 boats. For
Wasn't me, man.
Yeah, lying motherfucker. Okay, go ahead, Furlong.
So I want to address one of the things that I've heard come back is that some people are concerned with me being in the recon and being real life friends with Lee and Dodge. It's that I'm going to be circumventing pretty much everyone and going straight to them. I'll just have you know right now, I am not on board with these changes. Dodds and I have had it out with each other over this shit. So if you think that for 1 minute Recon is going to get what they want just because Dodds and I are boys, like, you have no clue, dude. I'm seriously, I was not happy when this shit came down. Just about quit, and then Dodds got me to stay on for a little bit. I'm day to day right now, so I just want to let people know that it's not a fucking like, oh, I'm just gonna go to Dodds and Recon's gonna get whatever the hell we want. Like,
For a long
haven't so far.
Made me rage quit for the first time in my history. And you're right, we're real life friends, but we don't let that affect the community. Trust me, I pissed him off more in the past week than any of you.
He asked me today how I like the changes. I told him I'm still here. That's my gauge right now.
But for long is not being selfish, and he's doing what's best in the interest of the community.
Yep.
Because to be fair, guys, I took more away from the former soft dudes than anybody. I took a group of guys that have been playing together for 4 years with their own group and own leadership structure, and I took everything from them overnight. So nobody else went through that significant of a change. So just keep that in mind, boys. That's all I ask. Okay, is that it? Are we done? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead. One last
Bailey
question.
put up an X.
I understand there is the training coming through, which is going to be staying across the board. But
User
with
left your channel.
Recce, is there going to be a difference, or is it still going to be the same?
You got to clarify what you're talking about.
Okay, right. There's going to be land nav across the board for everyone. But then there's a land nav course for Recce. Is that going to be completely different to the other course?
So all the certifications are community-wide certifications. So it's not like Recce's going to have their own land nav certification that nobody else has access to. That said, part of the RIP process will most likely, well, it won't most likely be, there will be a land nav portion of it. it's probably not going to look like exactly the same land nav course that you take. That's a community-wide land nav course. Just like in the real world, where you do a land nav course at the 1st Infantry Division, it is much different than the land nav course you're going to do for selection to, SFAS or Ranger Indoctrination Program or any LURS selection. So there is no internal certifications, qualifications that only one group is able to get, if that's what you're asking.
That's fine. Thank you.
That being said, I'm never going to restrict company leadership's ability to impose additional certifications. Well, not certifications, but additional restrictions, right? So everything that we've done is a baseline.
Gotcha.
Qualification's a qualification, but the groups or the units do reserve the right to validate your skills. So if Fox all of a sudden decides that in order
User
to get into
disconnected
a
from your
company,
channel.
you have to pass a rifle range to prove that you're capable of using a machine gun, even if you have a AIT or a machine gun qualification. That's entirely his right. It's not a new qualification, it's a validation of skill. RIP is doing the exact same thing.
Understood.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, there's gonna be a movement of a few people over to Recce Detachment pre-selection, because we want to fill out some of that team right now. So there'll be some folks that go through that don't have to go through that RIP process, but they are going to do the internal validation exercise that Furlong and his team are planning, which is what we call a green team. That'll allow everybody on the team to get to the same standard, speak the same language across the board, and validate their own skills. And then you'll see the first class of RIP probably come out, I think. But just stand by, keep an eye on the forums. Okay, Bailey, last question.
Sorry, what is is there a size limit imposed on recon, or a max number of people, or is it kind of just open to everyone?
No, there's an Orbat, size limit. Obviously, if we had an 80-person Recce detachment with a 20-person B company, that would be fucking retarded. So working together with Schmidt, Dude, and Nichols and Lee, we're coming up with an Orbat for it. All right. Other questions?
As that concludes it, thank you guys for coming out.
User left your channel. User left
about
your
it.
channel. User left your channel. User left your channel. Your channel. User
Thank
left
you
your channel.
guys.
User left your channel. User left your channel.
I do love
disconnected
these.
from your channel.
Fucking
User
Ghost
left
posting
your
his stats.
channel. User left your
Oh
channel.
yeah, I was gonna ask one of you guys have been
User
here long
left
enough.
your
How the
channel.
fuck do I
User
put that in the
left your
forums like
channel.
everyone else does?